The opinions expressed in this show are the views of the host and not necessarily that of WTRW, 94.3 The Talker, or the Bold Gold Media Group.
The following presentation is paid for by Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, who is solely responsible for its content. Portions transcribed.
All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker of Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm here with my husband, co-host, fellow realtor, Pat Devaney.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you today?
Very good. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
We have with us the Grebs, Ryan and Brian Greb of Greb Insurance Agency. Hello. Good morning.
Morning, Jackie.
Morning.
Thank you for being here with us. You've been here before, so you are no strangers to our program. We're looking forward to talking about homeowners insurance. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m., where we talk real estate. We have a full-time real estate office with many relentless realtors who've been listing, selling, and appraising real estate for 50-plus years.
During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com, or you can give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you go to jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab and see what's going on at Dunmore Corners. We have a webcam on the roof, and we get thousands of hits a month on that camera. Everybody wants to see what's going on at the corners.
Yes, it's a hopping place. View our listings, search the MLS listings, and listen to archive radio shows by going to mobile-friendly jruddy.com, where we also have all the podcast apps that we feature our radio show on. Don't forget to check us out on social media, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, and Twitter. Brian and Ryan Greb, co-owners of Greb Insurance Agency. How are you doing?
Very good, Jackie.
Doing fine, thank you.
All right, so let's talk about homeowners insurance. Several years ago, not too long ago, probably a little distance away, but we used to have buyers that would forget their insurance and be at the bank at the closing table and call their insurance company. I mean, now it's they have to have it prior to closing. They have to have proof of insurance. That's something that they have to provide a lender. However, back in the day, I won't say when, they used to call literally from the closing table. Does that still happen?
It's much less common now. Actually, the banks seem to be requiring it a long time ahead of time. So it's even difficult when we don't have a closing date and they're calling us to say we want a homeowner's insurance policy sent over to us. So we like to hold them off maybe until about 2 weeks or so before the closing. But we really don't get those calls from the closing table anymore because those are difficult to get done all the time.
What about cash buyers?
Cash buyers, that still does happen. We get I just left the closing and I need to have insurance.
Left the closing.
Just left the closing.
Owns the house.
They own the building. Yeah.
They own it.
Already put their $150,000 up and paid cash for it and don't have insurance.
Don't have insurance.
Yeah. So,
That's scary.
It is scary because there are some requirements. There is some work that is required before you get a policy with most insurance companies. So it's not something you could always just do immediately.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, the process and the work that has to be done. But at 10 to 5 on a Friday afternoon, what are the chances that cash buyer is going to secure an insurance policy before the close of the business day?
Not good.
Right. Yeah. So it would happen within minutes. I'm dating myself, obviously, so it's been a while ago. But even with a lender, they got it right then and there on the spot. But there's a lot to getting insurance these days. Let's talk about that. Do you have to go inside a home as the insurance agent?
In some instances, an interior inspection is required.
Okay.
There are underwriting requirements, age of furnaces, electrical panels, service amperage, number of circuits. So if we have an indication that property may not meet those underwriting requirements, we need to go in and inspect.
So in the age of the home, and if there's knob and tube wiring, or if there's a 60-amp electrical service, missing shingles on the roof, that sort of thing.
Anytime there's a wood burner or a coal burner, we need to do an inspection on that.
Okay.
So there are times when we have to get in. Sometimes we could just, if it's a newer house, everything is within the last 20, 25 years, we can do our square footage and our pictures from the outside.
It's easier.
It's a lot easier.
It's a lot easier. So how do you discover this, that you need to do an interior inspection? Is it based on the person that's calling for the insurance policy? You're asking them questions, correct?
It'd be asking them questions, yeah. How old the house is. If they could answer when things have been updated. If they say, well, they don't know how many amp service they have, well, we need to go in and find out for them.
Yeah, right.
Things like that.
Yeah, sure. Sometimes, each insurance company is different. Some like to take pictures of the electrical panel. That seems to be the only thing they're focused on. Some require us to send the MLS fact sheet. Some ask for not only the MLS fact sheet, but the seller's disclosure, just so that they can review the structural items and mechanical systems of the house. So, but I wish it would become more uniform, because then we would at least know what to expect.
It sometimes feels as though it's an inconvenience, but in all honesty, if you do have an opportunity to get out to the house, you can better gauge the value. The materials used in the construction of the house, the grade of the dwelling, things along those lines, and it actually helps in arriving at a replacement value.
Okay. So 20-some years ago, I had shown a house, and the sidewalks were awful. Like, they were all uneven, lots of trees on the street. You could see that the roots were pushing up some of the portions of the sidewalk. And the buyer said that they were interested in the house, but they would never be able to obtain insurance. Is that something that's also looked at, uneven sidewalks? Because that's a safety risk, right?
Anytime there's something, whether it's a bad roof, bad sidewalks, most of the time they will still allow us to write a policy, but we're going to have to see a contract for the work to be done with a date on it for completion. So we know the sidewalks are bad, but we intend on getting them done. So you have to go a little step further and say, well, I contacted this company. They're going to come out and start work this date, and it should be done by this date. If they go to that length, then we are normally able to write the policy. If not, and they just say, well, no, we're going to leave this situation the way it is, and we don't intend to fix it right away, that could be a problem.
Okay, what about knob and tube wiring? Because there's a lot of that still out there in homes these days.
Knob and tube wiring is mostly a no-no, just because of the age. But if you get it inspected by an electrician, and the electrician will certify it as being safe, then you can technically write a policy. But I don't see an electrician going out and telling you that in this area that it's safe, because modern appliances and
the needs of a house these days
aren't the same. Yeah, right. Aren't the same as they used to be. So it's just not adequate to use that. And the coatings on the wire, they deteriorate and things like that. So it's normally something that, again, needs to be addressed shortly after the closing.
Will you write the policy subject to, like you were talking about, the sidewalks, the contractor's work being started
that would be
at such a date?
Right, that would be another thing that we would need to have. If they intend to do that, normally they'll say right away, yeah, that's the first thing we're going to do, or we already talked to the seller about it, and we're going to get started as soon as the closing happens, and then normally that's a situation that we could still write a policy.
You could still work with it, right? Do you ever deny anyone?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's just situations that, again, we just can't get repaired in a time frame that the company will accept, such as 60 days or 90 days, something along those lines. Or they have no intentions of making the repairs. So ultimately, we would have to do that.
You'd have to refuse.
Yeah, or the policy would cancel if we had wrote the policy and the work wasn't performed.
Mm-hmm.
And there are companies, not Erie, they want us to do the inspection and go out and see the house, but there are companies that will write them based on the questions that get answered by the insured, and then they'll go out and send an inspector out and say, you have this amount of time to do it. So our doing the inspection early sometimes avoids that situation, because then they're stuck. If the inspector comes out and says, you need to put a roof on in 60 days, and you don't, well, then your policy is going to get canceled. So we could avoid some of that by going out as early as possible.
As early as possible. Yeah, and there are people that do go out because it happened to my mom. You know, she had she's a lot of trees around her house, so she had moss that build up on the shingles, and they said you have so many days or a time frame, a couple months to get that to either replace the roof or clean it or do something with it because we're going to drop you, cancel you. So she did that.
The situation with that is it would just prematurely degrade the roof, and eventually you would end up with you're going to end up with a claim, whether that be windstorm or water leakage, something along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just an idea. It does happen. These insurance companies do send out people to check on things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's criteria that the company has, the age of the house, and like they won't send it out on every house, but they have their criteria on what houses they will send it out on.
Now, say I wanted to insure my house, like I would say I was buying a house, and my credit is good, right? That's always very important, and I don't have any claims. But there were claims against the property. Does that figure into the calculation?
Claims on the house, on the risk itself, as long as they're not repetitive. So as long as you don't have 3 roof leaks and didn't replace your roof, normally that won't affect the rate of the person buying the house. So those repetitive claims where they might not have been repaired, that could pose a problem to the person buying it. But normally not. Normally old claims don't affect the new buyer.
See, we've been told along the way somewhere that it does affect the amount of claims against the
sticks with the property.
Right. And how about, does it stick with the people that put in those claims? How about that? If they're selling a house and they buy another house, they go for insurance on their new house. Does it matter how many claims they filed on that previous house?
Yes, it would affect that. If they had more than 2 claims in a 3-year period, you wouldn't be able to place a policy for them, even on the new house, because of their claims.
Their claim history.
With their claim history, exactly.
Okay, so it seems sometimes owning a building and owning properties, to file a claim or not to file a claim, that's a huge decision in life, right? So sometimes we don't, and sometimes we feel we need to, right?
Yes, I have experience with this.
Okay.
Yes.
But there is this factor, like if I file a claim, my insurance is going to go up. Isn't that a common assumption?
It's based on the amount of the claim. I probably wouldn't suggest filing a small claim. You have your deductible involved.
We're going to talk about deductibles.
And in some instances, you're receiving a claims-free credit. So it's not like it's a surcharge for a claim, but you lose your claims-free credit. And again, your deductible. But if your claim is thousands of dollars for a roof, then you need to turn that claim in and get your roof repaired.
Yeah, this is a good story. You guys are going to like this. I bought a classic car, right? I had it one day. I had gotten insurance. I had the car one day. I'm walking around it. I'm taking pictures. I'm polishing it. I'm so proud of this car. She's laughing because she knows where this is going. I turn around, and the car starts rolling down the driveway. I have cameras around the house, so there was video evidence of this. And you see this fool running down the driveway, chasing the car. What am I going to do if I catch it? But it stopped when it hit the pole across the street. All right? And I brought the car to my friend's body shop. I was hysterical.
Distraught.
I was distraught.
Distraught.
He put his hand on my shoulder. He says, Patty, he says, I can fix it. And I said, and it was about $3,500. And I had a $1,000 deductible on the car. I says, what are they going to cheat me on? I says, how much are my rates going to go up? How long is this going to haunt me for? So
you ate it.
Yeah, I ate it because, well, first of all, I was embarrassed. I had this insurance for 20 years. I never had a claim. And then I have this car on the policy one day and it rolls down the driveway. But I was concerned that my great rate would be lost. and is it worth it? It wasn't a gigantic claim, but so that's my experience with doing that.
The dilemma today is that even what you may suspect is a small claim is no longer a small claim. Let's say you have a leaky hot water heater, and it floods a portion of your basement. It's the water damage that's covered under the policy. Well, now there's concerns with if the time frame that it gets cleaned up in. Then now is there mold?
Mold.
Yeah, so you have to have a company come in to remediate that. So again, there's just, you may think it's a small claim, but actually when it gets turned in and you go through the process, it ends up being thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes on.
So you really have to be careful, especially with water, how that's cleaned up.
So you bring up the 4-letter M word, mold. Now, if a house, and there's sometimes there's properties out there on the market that do have a situation and they have mold in the property. Seller went to El Paso or wherever, moved out of the areas, no intention on mitigating or correcting anything. There's mold presence in the house. Is that something from an insurance agent standpoint that you're willing or your underwriters would write a policy for?
We normally don't have a problem or even ask the underwriting question is if there is mold, let's say in the basement, or because of a roof leak maybe on the ceiling of a bedroom. We would be more concerned about where did the water claim come from. Okay, because the mold in the basement and around your shower and maybe on your ceiling in the bathroom because you're not putting your fan on to vent the steam out, that isn't covered under the policy. So we would be more concerned about what situation happened that created the moisture.
And has it been repaired?
And if that has been repaired, then there's not normally a problem with that.
Yeah. You would have to have initially a covered peril. You just wouldn't cover a mold claim.
So you'd have to have a water leak that then caused the mold. And then you would still be limited to the coverage for just the mold. So, say you didn't turn the claim in, you tried to paint over the water stain, and then mold kept coming back. There would be coverage for that, but it would be limited under the policy for that mold. So that would be the situation with the mold and us. But if you do have a water claim, that's maybe what my father was talking about a little bit, is the small claims you think is a small claim. Well, I could rip the carpet out that got wet and I could replace it, but it's not that anymore. You need to get rid of the wet drywall. You need to get rid of the carpets. You need to have somebody come in and treat it so that you don't get the mold back. So that's when they turn into bigger claims that you didn't think it was going to be.
Right. Drying it out.
Doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Brian and Ryan Greb, father and son of Greb Insurance Agency. How does someone get in touch with you, please?
We like still the old-fashioned way. Pick up the phone if you could, and give us a call. Certainly, we have our email. We have grebins@comcast.net, and you could email us. But we like to talk to you on the phone. We like to ask the questions, and it's easier for both of us. Now, certainly, you want to email us copies of your old policies, or even send us some people send us a text right to our cell phones and get copies of those documents. That might be easier, but either stop in. We can do that nowadays. That came back, or give us a call.
And what's your number?
570-343-7898.
Thank you. Pat, would you like to review a listing, please?
Oh, my God, a business that wants you to call and walk in. I mean, you guys are like dinosaurs.
And do you answer the phones, or we... Yeah.
No, they don't answer the phones because
Because
right to voicemail
everywhere you
and
call.
they send you a text.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely, we answer the phone.
Yes.
Every
Sure.
phone,
All
and
right.
we return phone calls.
Oh, my
also.
God.
Yeah.
So refreshing to hear this.
All right. We have a bi-level home at 1502 Froud Avenue in Scranton for $239,000. This 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, it's in Scranton's East Mountain neighborhood with great views of the valley below. It's on a quiet, dead-end street with a built-in garage, off-street parking, and a nice-sized yard with a covered back porch. This home has been well cared for and is in move-in condition with a large lower-level family room and a large upstairs living room and formal dining room. That's a beautiful 3-bedroom, 2-bath, bi-level home at 1502 Froud Avenue in Scranton for $239,000. That's listed by Nicole Clark of our office.
Now to thank today's sponsor, Stephen Scott of House Standing Home Inspections. Don't take any chances on your home purchase. Before you move on to the next step of the home buying process, let House Standing Home Inspections take a look. Stephen will evaluate every detail of your home and provide you with a fast, comprehensive report. House Standing Home Inspections offers structural, wood infestation, radon, mold, water, and septic inspections. Don't go it alone. For a quality inspection, call Stephen Scott of House Standing Home Inspections at 570-251-1052 or visit www.housestandinghomeinspections.com. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be right back. When considering to sell or buy a home, why choose Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate? Let me tell you why. 70% of home buyers settle for the first agent they meet, and many regret it. 90% of home sellers hire an agent, but was it the right choice? Don't have agent remorse. I'm Jackie Ruddy, and I've been in and around the real estate business for most of my life. And at Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, we've been selling real estate for half a century, but we do not do it halfway. You deserve better than average. Average doesn't help you. We know it's all about you and what you need. Century 21 is the #1 in brand awareness, is the most recognized name in real estate, and is the most respected in the industry. In this market, if you dream big, you need to move fast. So it makes perfect sense to contact Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate, 570-344-6724, and visit jruddy.com. That's JRUDDY.com. We're back with more Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, in with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
And we're back talking insurance.
Homeowners insurance.
Everybody needs insurance.
Yes. We have Brian and Ryan Greb, father and son of Greb Insurance Agency. You're located over by Kelly Volkswagen in West Scranton on Main Avenue, right?
Yes. Just one block past Kelly Volkswagen.
Just
going south.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. And so you're easy to get to, and you've been there for a long time.
Been in West Side since 1962.
Our agency has been within a block or two since 1962.
Wonderful. Okay. So a well-known, respected name. So the first half of the show, we were talking about things that can pop up that could prevent or hold up insurance, or there could be given a time frame to correct wiring, roofs, mold, that sort of situation. I'm being told now there's equipment breakdown insurance that is available that wasn't once available. Let's talk about equipment breakdown. Are we talking about boilers, furnaces, or are we talking about the refrigerator and stove?
The equipment breakdown would be for any mechanical items in your house. And it's something that wasn't available just a few years ago that Erie has just come out with, that if those items simply wear out or stop working, mechanically become unusable, there is coverage for that now. And it will be for your appliances, so your refrigerator and your stove and your dishwasher, but also for the bigger items like your air conditioning units, your furnace. Those are the ones that are more of a concern. Certainly a dishwasher after your deductible, not going to be a huge claim, but it will be if your air conditioner doesn't work. And there are some terms to that they will send somebody out to make sure it's not repairable. If you can repair it, have it recharged or something like that, then you obviously have to go that route. But again, if it's just old and stops working, and it's not worth it to fix it, you could get a new air conditioning with that coverage added to your policy. It's not something automatic. You have to.
That was my question. You did read my mind there. So okay, it's something that you can add on at some point. And let's talk about deductibles. What's your advice regarding deductibles? Is it better to go with a high deductible? I mean, some people live, let's be honest, paycheck to paycheck. And a high deductible is not going to work. How do you advise somebody regarding deductibles?
We start out with a quote. Once we arrive at a value for the dwelling, the other portions of the policy, such as personal property, things along those lines, are a percentage of that. And then we would just start out with a quote that would include a deductible of, let's say, $1,000. If that's not satisfactory, if that's a concern with the applicant, then certainly we can change it. We can make it 500 or higher. And sometimes we base that on the dwelling value. If we have a $600,000 house, my feelings would be that $1,000 deductible would be something that could be
managed very well.
Afforded, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But premiums, there is an advantage premium-wise to take a higher deductible.
It lowers the premium.
It lowers the premium.
Right.
Exactly.
And that's why a lot of people opt for that. But then when they put in a claim and then they realize they have to come up with it.
Have difficulty coming up with the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
My insurance guy says, because like I would think everybody's situation is different, but my insurance guy says, Patty, you should go with a higher deductible. He says, because if you're going to have a claim against a house, it's probably going to be significant, right? And he says, you're not going to be going in for small claims. So that's what I did. And when I went for the higher deductible, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's pretty high. He says, your premiums will come down. And, if I don't have a claim over 10 years, I've pretty much saved my deductible anyway. So
that's a good way of looking at it. So what about smart home devices? Does that save on home insurance?
The alarms are something that you could get a credit for. Having a hardwired or a centrally monitored, not hardwired because they could be wireless, but a centrally monitored, an alarm system that goes back to a call center that will automatically call the police for you. You could get a credit for that. As of right now, having security cameras and those like a Ring doorbell, something like that, is not something we are seeing credits for. They don't necessarily stop it. You might have it on video, but they might not stop the theft or the vandalism. So for right now, there's not a credit for those types of things.
Okay. And there's also those apps that, let you know if the heat goes out or if there's water intrusion. And so I was wondering if that would help reduce.
We don't have credits for those yet. I think maybe we're not just caught up to that technology yet, and seeing how that is going to reduce claims and how it.
But it might be down the road, right?
Oh, they talk about that kind of thing all the time. Sure.
Ryan and Brian Greb, father and son of Greb Insurance. How does someone get in touch with you, please?
We still like the best way is to give us a call, 570-343-7898, or you can certainly send us an email. It's our last name, Greb, GREBBINS @comcast.net.
Thanks, guys. Would you come back next week?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Pat?
Yes. Have you been thinking about building your dream home? Well, we might have what you're looking for. We have 1.1 acres of flat, cleared land at the intersection of Kevin Drive and Grzybowski Road in Oliphant for $59,000. This property has a large shed, over 200 feet of road frontage. The land it's in Scott Township. It's got electricity to the land, and it's also been perked. That's 1.1 acres of cleared land at the intersection of Grzybowski Road and Kevin Drive for $59,000, and that's listed by Phoebe Keating of our office.
Before I say goodbye, I'd like to say hello to Bridget Negroni. She is a dedicated listener from Mountaintop, and I appreciate you giving us a call and letting us know that you enjoy our show, and hope you have a great week. Remember to tune in next Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m. to listen to more of the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 The Talker.